It looks like the veterans have had enough of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry as they are demanding that they quit the Invictus Games. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef, the Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye, and oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we, because, oh yeah, the veterans are peeved with Hazza and Megxi, saying that essentially the Invictus Games have now lost all meaning now that Megxi is involved. And yeah, he's been given a stark warning by veterans over his decision to actually involve Megxi in the Invictus Games. Some veterans are worried that the games have now become too royal and that they've lost their meaning with Megxi's involvement, and are asking Hazza now to step down, to quit, to bog off, bye-bye, sayonara. Oh my goodness. GB News host Mark Dolan is claiming that about 2,000 ex-military have actually left the games, the Invictus Games, as they say it's lost its original meaning. There are some former veterans who would like Hazza to step down. Now, royal biographer, someone who I respect and I do reference a lot on this channel, Angela Levin, have claimed that veterans who are involved in Hazza's Invictus Games and Megx's Invictus Games, right, are regretful that the royal is no longer on their wavelength. So speaking to GBN America, Angela Levin said that she believed the games had become too royal and were more about Hazza and Megxi than the veterans themselves. Saying, quote, "It's become much too royal. Megxi makes the speeches. She actually led a march where some of the ex-military people were either physically, emotionally, or psychologically damaged, or all of it during the fighting. They were very upset about this because she knows nothing about how to march, and I think they don't want that." Recalling Megxi's previous speech at the Games in Dusseldorf, Germany last year in September, where she apologised for being late, claiming she had to give their children milkshakes, she says they don't want to hear that she's late because she had to give her children a milkshake 3 days before she could get out there. I mean, nobody really wants to know, and to be fair, no one believed Megxi anyway, in all honesty, about the whole Archie and Lilibet needed to get their milkshakes. That's why I was late. I mean, come on, really? It's as bad as my dog ate me homework. You know what I mean? Angela Levin also says she also did a speech on how to be strong and fight against things, which was actually, I think, rather insulting. Exactly, because, my goodness, she ain't strong in the sense of opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. She's got a fragile ego, right? You criticise her, even if it's constructive criticism, what's the response back? You're racist, you're misogynist, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there's no strength to Megxi in that regard whatsoever as far as I'm concerned. Angela Levin continues saying, "I think it's become much too taken away from what is the idea, which is to help these people live another life. Hazza was brilliant with them. When I went round with him to talk to them, he was marvellous at giving them a feeling that life was worth living. I couldn't believe how good he was, spending 3 or 4 minutes talking to them. Oh my, though, how the mighty have fallen, right, guys?" But criticising Megxi's increased involvement in the Invictus Games, Angela Levin said, "Now it's all about Megxi mainly, and Hazza follows behind. And I don't think people want that." When asked by Mark if she believes the veterans feel that the Invictus Games are now a PR exercise for the Sussexes, "We all think it is." Angela Levin also thinks it is, saying, "I think they feel very regretful that Hazza is no longer on their wave. He's off thinking about Megxi, looking after her, making sure she's all right, and they're not getting what they deserve, which is all the attention on them, not on Megxi. The other thing they're upset about is they try to stay in the most expensive hotel, which takes money out of what is coming in for the victims, for the veterans. And I think they find they're just really quite difficult." Now, yes, last year when they were in Germany, reports were coming out that they were spending $5,000 a night or something ridiculous like that in like a presidential suite, blah, 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 out of allegedly the Invictus Games money. And then you've got Megsy's wardrobe as well, which ain't cheap, let's put it that way. And again, allegedly, that was coming out of the Invictus Games money situation as well. But guess what? Whoo! There have been reports recently, before today, that the Invictus Games CEO is actually trying to force Hazard out anyway. And so, again, Angela Levin turning round and saying that Mike Tyndall, who is, we all know, married to Zara Phillips, daughter of Princess Anne, has been made patron of the Invictus Games. And she says, I wonder if that's a way to ease Hazard out. He's been very nice about Hazard, but it's become too royal. And yeah, I think that is a legitimate way of trying to ease Hazard out of the Invictus Games. Now, this is the thing. It's been said before, okay, that there is an issue with Hazard and Megsy in the Invictus Games, that they are taking the spotlight away from the veterans and keeping it from themselves. I actually reported on this last year in August, just before the Invictus Games Germany session started in September. And yeah, it was reported here that yes, Hazard and Megsy were ruining the games because the spotlight is on him and not the athletes. Again, Angela Levin coming in saying they're going to use them as publicity for themselves, i.e. Hazard and Megsy are going to use the veterans for publicity for themselves. And what happened? Exactly that. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. I mean, they have loved Hazard. They've been very good. I've been on one with him. And I've spoke to the people who started it, and they felt very strongly he was absolutely right to start the Invictus Games. But now he's turned it into making him more important than he is now. People in Canada have contacted me to say they're trying to stop the 2025 one because they don't want it anymore with them. They've got to leave. They don't want it because he's ruined it. Because they're taking all the spotlight away from them. I mean, they need that help. They need the spotlight. There's the most extraordinary things that they've managed to do from being very, very badly wounded. So you've got this running commentary that's been happening now for quite a while, that the Invictus Games has a problem, right? Which is the spotlight being taken away from the veterans and being firmly placed on Hazard and Megsy. That Hazard and Megsy, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, are using the veterans for their own publicity, for their own gain, rather than philanthropically being involved in the Invictus Games to lift the veterans up so that they've got the spotlight, right? The second thing that's been a running commentary all the way through this whole saga is the money that they are allegedly taking out of the Invictus Games pot for their own, right? For apparently the clothes, the transport, the security, where they stay hotel-wise, right? And again, Angela Levin is on it like Donkey Kong, I'm telling you, because here, back in November 2023, the Invictus Games Vancouver Whistler that's happening in 2025, they were actually calling out for donations, right? And Angela Levin, quite rightly, is saying, look, the Invictus Games is desperate for money and owe millions. There's a concern it won't be able to operate because allegedly they're blowing through money right now like there's nobody's business, right? Even though they've got literally tens and tens of millions of dollars being given by the government, right? But then number two, you've got, as I said earlier on, Angela Levin turning around and saying that she's got sources in the whole Vancouver Whistler Invictus Games delegate that's, organising this thing, turning around and saying they don't want to do it anymore. They don't want it held in Canada, Vancouver Whistler. It's become too much of a problem. They want to get rid. Well, not only allegedly do they want to actually get rid of the Vancouver Whistler Invictus Games 2025, but it looks like where the veterans are concerned, they want Hazard and Megsy to go. Bye-bye, sayonara, quit, resign, walk away. they don't want them in the Invictus Games anymore, it looks like. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, believe me, of course there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our Alternate tribe. I'll be honest with you, help us now get to 1 million so we can also get that gold play button right there and hopefully cause a Meghan Markle meltdown on Instagram. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also as well, if you've got some very strong opinions about Hazza and Meg's involvement with the Invictus Games, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.